So I just finished reading Act 1 of Translations, and I definitely can tell that if I hadn't watched it before actually reading it, that I would have been a lot more confused with like being able to picture what's happening, because I can picture what like the stage looks like and where the actors are because I've seen it before, but it definitely is a little confusing if you're just supposed to be reading it blind for the first time without having seen it. So probably would actually recommend watching it before reading it. Also, Owen is great. He just showed up and I love him a lot. Not because he's a great perfect person, but because he's a great character. It is Monday, and I did finish reading Translations yesterday, but I just didn't wrap it up for you when I finished it, so I'm going to do that now before I move on to Happy Birthday Wanda June, which I meant to read yesterday, but I didn't, because I got tired. So, anyway. Translations, I think, again, like I said before, it reads better when you've actually seen it. And also, like, with the theme of language in it, I think it's better done on a stage. Like, I think it gives you a more interesting look into that theme, but it also has the theme of, like, imperialism added in with this theme of language, and that just makes a very tragic play, especially if you know, like, the whole history of, like, Ireland, because this is set in 1833, I think, and so if you just already knew, or if you were to look up like what's happened in Ireland since then, you'd be like, yeah, they kind of got the short end of the stick. So, you know, it's a very, very interesting read, especially if you're interested in Irish history. So I rated it 4.5 out of 5 because, again, it reads, I think it only reads as well as it does because I've seen it before, and that if I hadn't seen it, it wouldn't read as clearly. But again, it's a play, it's meant to be put on stage, so honestly I could have rated it 5 out of 5 stars, but I didn't. So anyway, that's my thoughts right now on Translations. I'm going to now start reading Happy Birthday Wanda June, and I probably won't update you until I'm done reading it, just because I haven't read it since I was in it, and I kind of just want to re-experience it as clearly as I can. So I'll update you when I'm done reading it, and hopefully I have some interesting things to say about it, and I'm not just like, yeah, it was good, because I like plays I'm in. So yeah, I will see you later today. I just finished reading Happy Birthday Wanda June, and I honestly could not stop smiling during the entire thing. Like, I have the production burned into my brain, and it just made me so happy to go back and finally get to relive that in some form. This play is just genuinely good though. Like, I know I'm biased, but like, it's so funny. Like, there's parts that I always laugh at no matter what, and like, even though technically it's like, you're not supposed to be happy with what's happening in the play, I'm still like, but the dialogue is so funny. Even like in like the last scene, I'm just like, I'm fine with what's happening. I don't know. It's just one of those plays. I think it's a satire. I think that's what it is, but I don't remember what the exact satire is about. But yeah, so really, really glad I reread it. Would recommend it to anybody, especially if you want to get into Kurt Vonnegut. Again, I haven't read any other Kurt Vonnegut stuff, but I definitely want to, if anything can live up to how good I think this one is. So, yeah, finished one more book. Now I have the rest of the week to read 3 others. And hopefully I like all of those on rereads as much as I like this on a reread. But we'll have to see. It is currently Tuesday night, and I haven't read anything yet, and you might be wondering, why is that? You had all day, you didn't read anything? And the reason for that is, 1, I decided I would rather play Stardew Valley all day instead of reading a book. But 2, I decided I wanted to read The Wrong Train today, and I only wanted to read it when it was appropriate, which is nighttime, and it's finally nighttime and dark outside, so it's finally spooky time. So I'm gonna start reading this now and cross my fingers that I actually can read this as fast as I think I can and get it done before I go to bed tonight. So we'll see. Hi, so it's me again. Yes, I did just start reading the book, but I did also just stop to say one thing, and the thing is, do you ever like read a book that you like love, that's like one of your favorite books, and so you read the first like page or like even sentence, and you're like automatically like, yes, of course this is my favorite book. Like just with one word, you're like, perfect, love it, great, and you just get really happy because that just happened. Long-winded way to say, yes, love The Wrong Train, very good book, and I'm already in love with it, and literally nothing has happened. But yes, just wanted to update you, and now I'll actually get into reading the book. It's 11:45, so it's almost midnight right now, and I am halfway through the book, and it was definitely the right idea to read it at night, but now every time I walk into a dark room, I'm like, don't think about anything. Just walk through it. Don't think about anything. It's fine. But yes, I'm enjoying rereading it. I definitely am glad that I've already read it, because definitely if I was reading it for the first time at night, I do think I would be kind of more unsettled, because since I know how every single short story in this book ends, I'm not like, oh no, what's gonna happen next? I'm like, I know what happens next, because I read it before. But it's still a little unnerving, because you forget the little tiny details that make the story overly, like, overarchingly unnerving, like, generally unnerving. So, yeah, that's been my experience so far. And I did realize something about the book that I don't know if I thought before, but it's like super spoilery. So if you don't want to get spoiled on the book and like how it ends, then like skip ahead to when I'm done talking about it. But for the people who either are never going to read the book or have already read the book, something I realized was, you know how at the end the boy has to pick like his favorite story, and he has to tell the old man like which story he liked the best? Well, I think he picks the lucky, like your lucky day story, unless I'm wrong, because I'm not gonna skip to the end to check that right now, but I'm pretty sure that's the one he picks. And I was thinking, what would have happened if he'd picked the very first one, the nanny candle story? Because I'm pretty sure in all of the rest of the stories after that one, if he picked any of those, all of those end with implied child death. Or at least the ones I've read so far, all end with implied child death. But the first one ends with the main character's little brother dying, not the main character. So, would the boy have been fine if he'd picked the first story? Or if there's other stories in this that I'm forgetting that people were fine at the end of? Would he be fine if he picked one of those two? Or is his fate sealed where he's just gonna potentially probably die in the end no matter what? So, if you've read this before, I definitely would want to know your thoughts on that, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what would have happened? But yeah, so I'm going to try and stay up and finish the next, 100 pages of this, but we'll see, because I'm kind of sleepy. But hopefully I will power through, and the spookiness will keep me alert and awake. But yeah, I'll check back in either tonight when I'm done, or tomorrow morning when I'm also done. I'll check back in when I'm done. Jury's still out on when that will actually be. It is Wednesday afternoon, and I was right last night. I was not able to stay up all night and finish reading the book, but I did finish it now, so all done with this. And I loved it as much as I loved it the first time I read it. It's a great book, you should read it. It's just scary enough that if you start thinking about it, you'll be kind of spooked for a day, but not scary enough that you will be sleepless for a week. So that's my shining endorsement of this book. But also, I had one thought that kind of is tangential to the thought I had last night, and that would be, is the man's game how do you want to die, or is it choose your fate? Because there's some of the stories are implied death, but some of them are just implied eternal nightmare. So you could assume certain stories don't end in death. So that's what I'm wondering. It's am I correct in assuming that you could assume that all the stories end in death? In that case, it's how do you want to die? Or am I also correct in assuming that it's some of them are death, some of them aren't, in which if he had picked not the car story, would he be just living in a creepy life that's a waking nightmare, but he'd be technically still alive? Or are they all just death? So, I don't know. I haven't decided which one that I think makes the most sense to me, but now that I'm done with this, I can move on to my next book, which I'm debating whether I want to read Sea of Monsters or And I Darken next, but I think I'm going to read Sea of Monsters next, because I think I can get that done tonight and tomorrow, and then I can start And I Darken tomorrow night, and then fingers crossed finish it in time. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna take a break from reading for a little bit, and then I'm gonna pick up my next book. It's Thursday right now. It's no longer Wednesday anymore, and I never updated you on my thoughts on the book. I'm already 100 pages in, and I love it so much. It's so good. I love Percy Jackson. He's my favorite character, but also in a close second place is Tyson, because he reminds me of Ganta from Danganronpa V3, and I love Ganta. So I need to protect all the children, and Annabeth as well, but Annabeth can handle herself. But everyone else, they need to be protected, and I'm so worried about everything. Anytime anything happens, I'm like, no, don't you dare mildly inconvenience anybody. But such a good book so far. I definitely know that I'm gonna like the rest of the series, because they can't get worse and they're already great. So I'm worried about stuff that'll happen, but I'm sure it'll be fine because it's only the second book. I'm sure bad stuff will happen in later books, but no one's gonna die in the second book. At least no one important. But on another note, I met Hermes, and he's officially my favorite god out of all the gods, so 10 out of 10 enjoy him. But anyway, I'm gonna go get back to reading Sea of Monsters and hope that nothing terrible happens and that I have not been bamboozled by my own hopes that nothing happens in the second book. I just finished the Sea of Monsters and I loved it so much. It's 5 out of 5 stars. It's so good. It's just as good as the first one. And one of the things I appreciate about this book a lot is that it's basically, for most of it, it's just, what if Annabeth was Odysseus and Percy was just along for the ride? And as someone who really likes the Odyssey, I was a big fan of that. Also, if Luke never gets redeemed and never gets any sort of redemption arc, and also on top of that if he dies without a redemption arc or getting redeemed in any way, I will be so sad. I don't know how I will take that, but yes, this book is so good. I am definitely going to read the rest of the series as soon as I can because I love how Rick Riordan writes. It's so funny. This book is so funny, but it also takes itself seriously when it needs to, and I just love that combination. So, if you like Greek mythology, and you like funny middle grade, but also like serious stuff, this is the book series for you. If you haven't read it yet, like me, you should read it. And now I only have one more book left to read, but I only have 2 days left to read it. So let's see if I can read all of And I Darken over the course of 2 days. I believe I can do it, but like, that doesn't mean much, so. So I've finished reading the first 100 pages of And I Darken, and basically all I have to say so far is that I love Radu, as I always have, and as I always have, I want to protect him more than anyone in the entire world. And like, I know what happens in this book, but I'm still like, no, I need to protect him at every turn, because he just needs to be happy and deserves to be happy. But yeah, I'm going to go take a break from reading, to go take a shower, and then I'm gonna pick up reading. Because I know I can finish reading this book by tomorrow night if I read half the book today and half the book tomorrow. But that means I have to read like 237 pages tonight. So I have to take So since I've already read 100 pages, I only have to read 137 pages more tonight in order to get to the 237 pages I need before I go to bed. And then tomorrow I have to read 237 more pages, which I highly doubt I can actually do, but I think I can attempt it, and at the bare minimum, I bet I will get like 75% of the way through the book. So, fingers crossed, I'm like super attentive to my reading over the next 24 or so hours, and I can actually just magically finish this book and then get all the books I planned to read this week done. It'll be cutting it really close, but I think I can do it, so off to take the shower. So, I have decided to forfeit finishing this. I am so far into it, but I still have like 175 pages left to do, and I just can't. I've just kind of like burnt myself out after reading like 200 pages yesterday. I'm just like, nope, I give up on finishing this book. But like I still feel accomplished because I read like a ton of books this week and stuff. I'm just absolutely am not going to finish this book tonight. I can't. It's just not going to happen. I'll finish it probably within the next week, but just, no, I can't read 275 pages in one day. That will break me. So, decided that it's not going to happen. But that means that this is the end of the vlog, so if you watched this entire reading vlog, thank you, because it wasn't very good, but I'm glad that you watched it anyway. And if you want to actually hear what I, think about all of these books, although spoiler-free, I will be making a reading vlog, not a reading vlog, oh my goodness. I will be making a reading wrap-up next weekend, so if you want to tune in a week to see my well-spoken and well-planned-out thoughts on these books, then I will see you then. But hope you're having a good day. Hope you've read some fun books recently. If you have, I would love to hear about them. And I will see you soon with a slightly similar video. Bye!